Hi, I'm Rez. You probably know me as a content creator for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, but for those of you that don't know, I'm also a musician. I've been playing the piano for about 21 years, and I'm very excited to present to you guys something that a good friend of mine and I have been working on for the last month. So you may have heard me already talk about one of my very good friends, Geoff Plays Guitar. He's one of my best friends IRL, and he's an incredibly talented musician, and he has been arranging and creating single-handedly these incredible Final Fantasy arrangements that he's been putting out every week. And I approached him after he started doing a couple of them to see if he'd be interested in doing a collab. He said yes, and although it's taken a while, mostly due to you know, my restrictions, it's finally done, and we are very, very excited to show it to you. So I am going to have a 45-second teaser of the song right after this little intro, and then right after that, Geoff and I recorded a video explaining, you know, talking more about the process behind the actual collab. Get to see some behind the scenes, what the song actually looks like on the back end with the software. It's pretty cool. So if you're interested at all in what the process actually looked like, then definitely stay tuned. The full song is going to be on Geoff's channel, so definitely check it out. Definitely subscribe to him if you like good Final Fantasy music, which you should. But overall, this was such a fun collaboration to do. Terra's theme is my favorite song, one of my favorite songs in the whole franchise, and I really hope that we did it justice. There are a bunch of leitmotifs in there, and it was super fun to collab with this, to collab on this with Geoff, and also to just see what goes into making these incredible arrangements. So I hope you guys like it as much as we enjoyed working on it. We're really, really proud of it. So definitely let us know your thoughts. Again, this is going to be like a 45-second teaser before going into a video with me and Geoff talking about the actual process behind the collab. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy. Hi, I'm Rez, and I have here my very good friend Geoff Plays Guitar.
Hi all, I'm Geoff. You've probably heard my Final Fantasy arrangements on YouTube, and I'm also making video game music on the side.
Is that it?
That's all I do.
Okay, alright, so we've been working on a collaboration for the last month or so on Terra's theme, although it's kind of become sort of a medley of a lot of different FF6 tracks, which we're excited to kind of break it down for you. So I thought maybe we could do a little video explaining kind of like the process of the collaboration. We've gotten a few questions, so we can just jump right in. Also, it's 90 degrees in here, which is why we look the way that we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's literally
Gross.
90 degrees, 90.7 degrees.
Yeah.
So how smooth was the collab process? I would say it was pretty smooth. It kind of, start to finish, it probably took like a month.
Yeah.
Something. I mean, it's still not finished. Geoff still has to do the mixing, but how it started was, you know, Geoff was doing these incredible Final Fantasy arrangements, and you do like what, 3 from each game and then move on to another another game, and I was like, you got to do FF6, and I said, let's do Terra's theme. I think we could do I think we could do something cool with that. So I think what we did first was we talked about doing the collab for about 2 weeks before anything got done. You know, another challenge is that we don't live together, obviously.
Right.
So and with you know, when we first started, like, social distancing was still very much in its early stages.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more lax. Neither of us has been in a public space
Yeah,
in several months.
Like neither of us go outside.
Yeah,
at all.
literally. This is the first place I've really been outside of my parents' house in a long time. So I think once that was okay and I was okay to come over and really talk through the process, like, it wasn't going to be doable doing this virtually.
Yeah.
The only part that I did virtually was I recorded the intro part, which I kind of had a vision of it being like waltzy. I had also been playing a lot of like Joe Hisaishi pieces, which a lot of the harmonies in those pieces are very waltzy. So I kind of took inspiration from that, and then Geoff took that recording and started mapping things out. And then when I finally made it over here a couple weeks later, we started actually talking about what we wanted the piece to look like. So when you took that recording, like, what does your beginning process look like?
Yeah. So the way that this track started to shape up was really similar to that story around how the what's it called? The Sephiroth song?
One-Winged Angel?
Oh.
Or Genova?
One-Winged Angel. So this was very similar to how One-Winged Angel was put together. The story is that Uematsu thought of maybe 4 bars at a time, had a whole bunch of different ideas, and then put them all together. Just mix and match. Yeah, and then and so he really didn't write it end to end, and we didn't really write this end to end either. We
just did a bunch of different parts.
Yeah, we
you can
came up with
even
a bunch of ideas.
you can even see in here, like, we'll share the screen, just all the different parts are labeled, and some parts we put in the middle, some parts we put at the end, some parts we put before others. Like, it really was just like that process where, you know, we come up with a few measures at a time and then say, it'll sound good here or here.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we ended up with, we kind of explored a bunch of different things. It's like a whole journey through the game where we take these similar themes and just kind of repeat them, but then add a different spin as you go through, and hopefully you'll be able to hear kind of like the journey, the adventure that we're imagining in about the 4 minutes of the song.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started out, it was just going to be kind of Terra's theme arrangement, and then as we were building on it, adding different leitmotifs and everything, we kind of realized that it is like a mini soundtrack for the actual game. And I can get into that a little bit in more detail a little bit later, but you know, you might have noticed we added a few different leitmotifs. I really wanted to make sure that Celes' theme was in there, since she's as much of a protagonist in FF6 in my opinion as Terra is, and they're both my favorites. So but we added in a couple other leitmotifs in there that I think ended up being really good transitions and kind of translated to the different events that were actually happening in the game itself. So like I said, we'll go into that in more detail a little bit later, but we've got a couple other questions. So let's see. I already talked about what creative spark caused all of this.
It is hot.
It is 91.4 degrees now.
Yeah, it's
in here.
Got I don't have central air, and my computer is right here.
Yeah.
And it is hot. It just doesn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, it's been that was also kind of a limitation that we had, was that we had to make sure that we were only doing we were only meeting up on days when it was like under 85 degrees.
Yeah.
But I'm going out of town tomorrow, so and like we're planning on releasing this on Monday. Today is Thursday.
It's a sticky one.
So we had to make some sacrifices, and being here in the 91 degree heat is that. Oh, it's 91.6 now.
We're doing this for you.
Is that sacrifice, right? You guys are all worth it. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I feel like just my ranting answered a lot of those things already. I don't know. How was this process different from you just working on something alone?
Yeah, exactly. So I think what makes this a little bit different, especially collaborations in general, are what you're doing is the first maybe 2 steps of the process around creating just the song concept is going to be a lot different, and it takes a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
So this is why we've been kicking this around for a little bit. We planned on releasing this a little bit later on. I already released 2 FF6 remixes.
And they're dope.
Yeah, thank you. I already did those 2 with the idea that we would kind of stretch this just as long as we needed. And when I'm writing stuff on my own, typically what I'm doing is I'm spending maybe the whole first day mapping out the whole song end to end. I'm not doing a lot of instrumentation. I'm not figuring out the sounds or the tones. I'm kind of just using a guitar or using a piano and some drums and just getting the whole thing out. And what that does is it lets me relax and go, okay, technically I finished the song. And now I just need to make it sound good and sound like, a full mix, right? This is a little bit different, where we spent a lot of time putting pieces together, and we had a lot of different ideas. And so the construction process took, a couple of weeks, I'd say. And then in these last couple of sessions, we spent a lot of time just making sure to fill in all the blanks and
make sure everything sounded full.
Exactly. Yeah, glue stuff together, make sure the ideas that we had actually mixed well. And so far, I think it sounds amazing. I think we nailed it. So
it sounds awesome.
Would love to hear your opinion.
Super, super excited to show it to you guys. But yeah, I mean, in terms of how it actually happened, Geoff is the one that knows how to use the software, and he's done an incredible job just kind of putting our ideas down. It's on paper, but it's not really on paper. But all the intricacies that go behind each note in this piece it's unreal. And I don't know if you want to, I can put in like a screenshot or something of what it looks like on the back end, because I think it's really interesting to see just how many instruments there are. I mean, I know that there are so many instruments that I hear in these kind of orchestral arrangements. I don't even know what the names of the instruments are. And so like tubular bells, I always just thought they were gongs. But they're literally called tubular bells, and they're like, $6,500 instrument, something like that.
Yeah, Googling this stuff is absurd.
Yeah, it is wild. And seeing this, how it works on the back end, I mean, I already appreciated these arrangements, but now seeing literally each, obviously, we don't know how to play the trumpet, or I'm a pianist, Geoff is a guitarist, we've got this keyboard right here, but all the other instruments, we don't know how to play those, we don't have them here, anything. So it was a challenge in that, we needed to figure out the sound that we wanted to go for, but also make sure that it sounded realistic enough that an actual orchestra could play it. Right. So each note has its own, each note standalone has its own dynamics behind it. It doesn't just, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of that work was done by Geoff within the software. And it's really, really cool. But I know that when I used to listen to these types of orchestral arrangements, even before you started making them, I was just like, how do people do this if they there's nobody that knows how to play all of these instruments, so how do they do it? And it's just really having that vision in your head and knowing how to actually put it down. I grew up having a lot of different visions in my head of different orchestral arrangements for things, but I don't know how to use this software. So it was really cool to be able to talk those ideas out and actually see them get brought to life. So for example, I was driving over here yesterday, and I was listening to Dancing Mad, and which I still think that you should do an arrangement at some point. But it's also an 18-minute track, and I know that you want to do it, do it fully and do it justice. But I was driving over here and I was listening to Dancing Mad, and at a minute 31 approximately, that's the part where it really kicks in with the different arpeggios, and I was like, this would sound dope in here. So I brought the idea to maybe this can fill in some of the empty spots in the song, and played it out on the piano and everything. But Geoff was really the one that figured out, okay, this is the spot, we decided this is the spot where we're gonna have it, but he's the one that actually decided how we're gonna mix it in. Watching him work and seeing the music theory that goes behind this. I've been playing the piano for 21 years. I don't know jack shit about music theory. I know very little about
it. It's a little secret. So I bought a book called Music Theory 101. That's it. That's all I got.
I'm too lazy to learn about music theory, but seeing him go from like, okay, this is how we need to resolve this so that it goes properly into the next transition. I would have no clue how to do that. So he's really like, last night at 1 a.m. he sends me a clip of, he's like, all right, here's what I did with Dancing Mad, and all of a sudden, like, it's now part of the song instead of a part that was just like dropped in there. He really integrated it really well into the piece, and the parts that we thought were the most empty after our session yesterday are now like some of my favorite parts of the track, because they're intertwined so well together, and that's something that I would never be able to do, despite having played the piano for so long, because I don't, there is a lot of music theory that goes into this. I mean, just from all of the, like, you should see how many different sections that we have labeled in this. I think, it's like 12 or something, and in each one, you need to figure out how to go from one to the other and still make it flow, but also make it clear that, like, okay, this is a different section of the piece.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot. You'll see a screenshot, maybe a little video or something, and take a look at some behind the scenes, and it's a lot of work to do these things. The orchestral arrangements, for those who have been listening to the remixes that I've been doing, the orchestral stuff tends to take the longest, and the guitar stuff doesn't actually take that long. I can do those in a couple of days, just because there's something about clicking in all of the different instruments that takes an obscene amount of time.
It's insane.
And I'm kind of just playing the guitar for all the guitar stuff. I'm really just clicking in the drums and playing the guitar and playing the bass, and it's just done, and there's really not that much to do. It's amazing how much more work gets put into things where the bands are bigger. When there's a lot more pieces, there's a lot more dynamics to control. You just have more work to do. There's a lot of great YouTube stuff that you can watch if you're interested in this kind of thing, talking about the process. People who make TV music and game music, it's just so drawn out. There's so many people involved. I think I might even be doing more than most of these people do professionally, but they do more and they get paid for it, so I don't.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So be sure, I'm gonna have this plug like several times throughout, but Geoff is, the genius behind all of this. So if you love all these pieces, if you love this track, which you should, then you need to go subscribe to him now, so that you can actually listen to the full piece, since I just had a 45-second teaser. So something that I wanted to dive into a little bit more were the specific leitmotifs that we have in here, and how I think they correspond to the actual game. FF6 is my favorite game in the series. I haven't done a playthrough of it in like 2 years or something, so my memory is still a little bit hazy around it, but Terra and Celes are my two favorite Final Fantasy characters, and I know that a lot of people consider Celes to be another protagonist in the game, which makes sense, seeing as for the majority of the Dark World section of the game, she's the one who you're controlling. So a lot of the first part, that initial part, that's kind of Terra, no longer being under the control of the Empire because of her ability to use magic, but then like still kind of feeling the longer lasting effects of being controlled for so long. But then what I think makes it really cool is really quickly you get that small Dancing Mad riff, which honestly, unless you're listening for it specifically, you're not gonna know that there's a leitmotif for it, but it's very cool. So to me that symbolizes, even though it's Dancing Mad, which is like towards the end of the game, for me that symbolizes kind of like the battle that they have with Kefka on the floating continent, which after that, Kefka destroys the world, and you go into Dark World. But that's also when, after this, that's where Celes' theme starts in this piece, and that was very intentional on our part, because Dark World is when Celes becomes the protagonist.
and her theme is the most prominent for those two sections, and then Terra's theme starts to come back in. And for me, that's like when they finally find Terra, and she's been like, she built this orphanage and she's been taking care of these kids and she doesn't want to fight anymore. So she's there, but Celes is still the main protagonist. Celes is still the one that's out there fighting. And then finally Terra rejoins. She's found like her place in the world, you know, she understands her role, she uses her Esper powers, and she finally gets like that confidence in herself that she needs, and that's really like the epic ending part for me. So not only is it a journey throughout FF6, it's just a journey throughout like Terra's character development, in my opinion.
It is hot.
It's now 92.7 degrees in here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that was the main, I think even though I didn't like list all of the questions that we got, I feel like we still kind of answered most of them. There are literally like sweat beads forming on our face right now.
Yeah.
It is so fucking
I don't know
here.
if you can see it, which
Yeah,
is good.
you
But
can't.
As
It's
I was
watching
talking,
us
I was
out.
watching the sweat just fall onto my shirt, and I was like,
It's so
gross.
hot in here.
I am melting.
Yeah, literally,
in front of the camera.
literally melting.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, we're really, really excited to show you this collab. If you haven't already, definitely go check out Geoff's channel to listen to the full song. You can download it for free on Bandcamp with Geoff, and I will have a link to the downloadable song. You should definitely download it because it is a jam. And I was listening to even just like one of the drafts on the way here, just blasting in the car. It's so good. So we really hope that you enjoy it. We worked really hard on it. Geoff especially, like he's gonna spend the next couple of days mixing it, and it's gonna sound even better. So really hope you enjoy. Anything else you want to say?
Just thank you for listening.
Yeah.
I really like making these, and I like your feedback, and I like that you like this stuff, and I'm gonna do it as much as I can. So thank you for all the time that you're spending with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Geoff, so much for doing this collab. It's been super fun. I'm so excited, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear it. Oh my god, it's amazing.
It's gonna be so good.
But we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.